Your job is not your identity. Whether you work in high pressure environments or whether you have a career that requires masculine characteristics, I'm gonna share with you proven feminine hacks that will get you in your feminine energy no matter the situation. Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about how to stay in your feminine while you're working a 9-to-5, construction, healthcare, or whatever industry. This has been a highly requested video with a lot of women saying that they can't be in their feminine because of the kind of jobs that they have. But what women don't realize is that the reason they're in their masculine energy is not because of the industry that they work in. When you exhibit warrior energy, assertiveness, strength, hyper responsibility, initiation, drive for success, control, dominance, these are protector behaviors that you bring out when you don't feel safe. But if they're maintained over a long period of time, they bring sickness physically, mentally, and emotionally. The first way of staying feminine while working a 9-to-5 is to have feminine protective behaviors. There's a story in the Bible about Lazarus where Jesus performed a miracle by raising Lazarus from the dead, but people don't really talk about what made him raise Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus had two sisters, Martha and Mary. Martha fell to her knees and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now, I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you." And that's when he raised Lazarus from the dead. He was moved into taking action by what Martha had said. She was favored because of her feminine power. We assume that the only way to get things done or to be heard is by utilizing our masculine energy. But regardless of what industry you work in, softness and being receptive will motivate people to do things for you, to be heard, and for you to get your way. Femininity is not a weakness. Utilize your feminine protective behaviors because you have feminine privilege on your side. The next way to stay feminine while working a 9-to-5 is to give yourself fluidity. When I used to work a 9-to-5 job, I used to snooze the alarm or turn off the alarm, giving myself minimal time to shower, get dressed. I wouldn't even have time to eat anything beforehand. By the time I got to work, I'll be flustered, tired, and it would feel like I was already at work for 3 to 4 hours. Compared to now, when I own my own business, I allow my body to wake up on its own. I always wake up between 7 to 8 every morning like clockwork. I pray, devote the day to my dreams. I have time to shower, get ready, have coffee whilst looking after my daughter. So whether you work 9-to-5 or shift work, you need to give yourself the time for that fluidity so you remain in a state of ease and flow. You have to value pouring into yourself so when your alarm goes off, your instinct isn't to turn it off or to snooze. You are looking forward to pouring into yourself and having that me time before you get into work. This allows you to be productive, be motivated, be disciplined while still living a soft, feminine life. The next way to stay feminine while working a 9-to-5 is to invest time and not spend time. Going to work is transactional. You're giving your time in order to get paid. And even when we know there's a financial benefit from us working, that doesn't stop you from dreading to go to work sometimes. That's because you're spending your time in a way that you wouldn't want to if you had a choice. Even though I have a feminine business, there are times when I do things that I don't necessarily want to do. I have a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, and all the work that I do is compounding into helping me achieve that 5-year plan and that 10-year plan. Regardless what job you're doing at the moment, you might be at the start of your career, you might not be in your dream job. You need to see the job as an investment into your 5-year plan or 10-year plan. What skills are you learning from this job? What opportunities can you get or are you getting from this job? And if you don't have a 5-year or 10-year plan, that's something for you to start considering because it changes your perspective and your mindset where you go from spending time to now investing time. The next way to stay feminine while working a 9-to-5 is to hold yourself to a standard. When I was working a 9-to-5, even though I was in a position of power, I didn't really care about the way that I looked when I went to work because in my mind, I wasn't there to impress anybody. I was there to do my job, get paid, and go home. I had a work wig which was really crusty. I didn't wear any makeup. I had a few outfits that I wore in rotation, and I wore sliders to work, fluffy sliders. And I always used to say that people didn't take me seriously until I opened my mouth out because of my age and my ethnicity, but you are addressed by the way that you dress. Because I was not intentional about holding myself to a standard, I had to work 2 or 3 times as hard to be taken seriously. I regret just reserving my good wigs for my personal life. I regret not taking my image seriously and looking more feminine, because when you look good, you feel good, and this impacts how you carry yourself, how you communicate with people, and your relationships with people. So regardless of what industry you work in, whether you can wear your own clothes or whether you have to wear a uniform, there's going to be certain things about your appearance that you do have control in. Whether it's your hair, whether you can wear makeup if you want to, or just investing in your skincare to make sure that you're looking confident even when you're not wearing any makeup, whether you're using accessories, also whether you're smelling good. It's something that's just feminine about a scent, a signature scent at that, and not only helps you to smell good, but allows you to stay in your femininity. Holding yourself to a standard is not just about appearances, but about how you carry yourself and what boundaries you put in place. It's a choice to just smile, to be inviting, to genuinely ask people how they are, how their day's going, to listen, to understand and not to respond, to nurture people's strengths instead of just telling them what to do, and to maintain a boundaries of what you choose to engage in and what you choose to talk about. If you work in an environment that's male dominated and there's a lot of sexual innuendo and a lot of invitations every day to go out drinking, you should be upfront and transparent that some conversations make you uncomfortable or that you don't want to do certain things. This holds you to a feminine standard that people are more mindful about what they do or what they speak about when you're around you. They even start to see you in a more feminine way because your job is not your identity. So you can bring forth your soft feminine identity even when you're in the workplace. The next way to stay feminine while working a 9 to 5 is through movement. If you're like me and you worked in a job where you sat behind a desk all day and you barely had time for lunch, that you would be eating while working sometimes. Well, firstly, you need to create a boundary of taking rest, because your manager isn't going to be checking every day that you're looking after yourself. The work is never ending. It's always going to be there regardless of how hard you work. There needs to be a balance of your masculine and feminine energy at work, so your working time and your resting time. And the easiest way to do that is to remove yourself from that working environment. Do you have a staff room that you can go into? Maybe take a walk, go to a gym, take a class, because that allows you to relieve tension, remove stress, reset. Have you ever noticed that after working out, even though you're tired, you feel better for it internally? You're more motivated and productive. That's because you're releasing neurotransmitters like endorphins and dopamine. So you need to add movement into your working environment, whether you're taking short breaks and walking up and down in the office to stretch your legs, or whether you're using your break to instill movement like going for a walk, going to the gym, or even taking some kind of class. The next way to stay in your feminine while working a 9 to 5 is to release control. When I was working a 9 to 5 job, I found the working environment to be quite toxic and competitive. You had targets to reach, deadlines to meet, and there was also a certain level of competitiveness amongst my peers. And I remember being on maternity leave when I'd given birth to my daughter and I was learning a new job, if you will. I removed any way of comparing myself to other moms or expert advice. I removed the idea of perfectionism and just did my best and enjoyed the process of being a new mom. It made me realize that always needing for things to go a certain way, wanting things to be perfect, was exhausting. It was stressful and it was not sustainable. Even in a high pressure environment, even in a position of power, you have a choice to release control. You have a choice of being church and state, not bringing work home with you, not micromanaging, not thinking that you're the only one who can get it right, delegating, asking for help, utilizing other people's strengths. Releasing control allows you to take a step back and let people take a step forward. Trusting in other people's capabilities, allowing you to be in a state of ease and flow. There's power in sometimes being a supportive subordinate. Removing unnecessary workload and unnecessary pressure. The message here is your job is not your identity. identity. You can be in your feminine energy no matter the situation. Whether you work in a high pressure environment or whether you have a career that requires you to have masculine characteristics. Like this video if you want to see more videos on femininity and abundance. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified every single time that I upload a video, and I will see you in an upcoming video. Mwah. Bye lovelies.